Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. The purchase and pricing email question line from you to me and my crew with your questions about buying this or any watch you see here on Watchbox Reviews. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com. And today we are in the shadow of a colossus. The legend launched in 1999, the Lange Sohne Datograph Flyback, 39 millimeters in platinum. This timepiece is the reference 403035, a handsome watch that revolutionized high horology when it arrived, both in terms of its aesthetics and its engineering. Throw it on the wrist, you can see the watch is 39 millimeters in diameter, 13.2 millimeters thick, and 48 millimeters lug-to-lug, so it wears fairly compact, though it is a little bit pot-bellied, with a 20 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Because it's not as thick as it appears, it does easily slide underneath the cuff, and you can see that to good effect right here. The watch is convenient to wear on any wrist size, and I consider it to be a viable unisex option. Narrow across the wrist with nicely tapered lugs, it's very comfortable, and while you can feel the significant mass of the platinum case and the sterling silver dial, it's not overbearing. It's a reassuring mark of quality, and I can recommend it for wrists as small as 13.5 centimeters circumference. Let me bring a little bit more light into the equation here. I have a little overhead light we can add to make the watch easier to appreciate. Now let's get close and take a look at some of the hardware and the software. A leather strap, a Lange Sohne factory, large rectangular scale alligator leather, semi-gloss, monotone stitch, black, folded edge. You can see calfskin on the underside, and this is a new Lange factory strap, so you will have the privilege of crimping it and gouging it first. With this, the Lange pin buckle, matching platinum. You can see it has some handsome faceting externally, and then internally it's quite smart, as the bridge is elevated over the prongs at the sides. The strap sits inside rather than underneath the buckle, and stacking up when it's on your wrist, it sits flush. There's also a retaining bar, because if you're like me, and that is a platinum buckle, I know you're wondering, not white gold, but if you're like me, you use the smallest hole, you have a small wrist, or maybe even make a smaller hole, and sometimes when you strap a watch onto a small wrist, it gets pinned on the pin, so to speak. Well, this little retaining bar prevents that from happening, so you can more easily extricate your luxury watch when the day is over. The case is handsome. As you can see, a combination of polish and satination. The attention to detail is superb, as the top and the flanks of the date adjustment pusher are polished, and then the outer face is satin finished to match the flow of the case. The lugs are nicely stepped out, and I've always thought that Lange watch style is a little bit reminiscent of a pocket watch converted to a wristwatch, and that's no coincidence. They want you to recall the Lange watches of the 19th and early 20th century that existed prior to the collectivization of horology under the Soviets in the 1950s. So this watch is a real throwback. Domed profile, polished bezel, again sliding easily under a cuff. The dial is sterling silver, so it's made of precious metal, and then it's galvanized this black color you see. Silvered sub-registers with azurage or concentric circular guilloche, and then you can see there's a flange outboard that is stepped up from the dial base. That is a tachometer, and you can see its base 1,000 meters, so in conjunction with the chronograph seconds hand, you can gauge the speed of, say, a car over a standing or flying kilometer. It is a flyback chronograph, so reset and restart with one push of the trigger down at 4 o'clock, and the watch features a wonderful pusher adjuster for the date that's as crisp and satisfying as the column wheel for the chronograph itself. You'll note that the hands Alpha style are loomed, so this is a loomed watch, sporty in many regards for a dress chronograph. You'll also appreciate the fact that the timepiece features applique white gold indices and Roman numerals, so those will never tarnish. The hands at center likewise white gold, as is the frame for the date. Of course, the watch features stop seconds, so you can pull the crown and bring everything to a halt to synchronize against a reference time. You turn the watch over, and a lot of folks say this is where the action is with Lange, and I'm not going to disagree. Caliber L951 launched with the Datograph in 1999. It was considered to be the movement that forced some soul-searching at Patek Philippe, the way the Acura NSX of 1990 forced Ferrari to do some soul-searching about its quality and maintainability. Well, this is the movement that gave Patek its come-to-Jesus moment. The timepiece, beautifully executed, but with a short power reserve, manual wind at 36 hours, it ticks away at 18,000 vibrations per hour on an oversized pocket watch style balance with a handmade Breguet overcoil hairspring to beat concentrically and keep good time in any position on your wrist. The 40 jewel movement is adjusted in 5 positions, which is the high horology standard, and you can see how many components are black polished. As I twist it, black polish, the highest standard of optical finish, it reflects light in only one direction from every other other angle it appears black, hence poly noir. Now you will appreciate that there is a column wheel with a lateral clutch. Note the lateral clutch fully jeweled, a refinement seldom seen on lateral clutch chronographs. The column wheel features all black polished cap as well as center screw, and you'll note that the lateral clutch features, depending on how you read an interior angle, between 5 and 6 interior angles. It's common to see Geneva hallmark movements that feature not one interior angle. Like black polish, that's one of the highest standards of finish you'll see, a sharp V-shaped interior angle where two bevels meet. German silver bridges, it's a nickel copper zinc that is golden hued by virtue of the copper. It's known as Maillot in the Swiss watchmaking regions, and it's used here because it evokes, yes, pocket watches. You'll also note both black polished and fired blue screws. The watch has both. The polished screws are used for adjustment of mechanisms. The blued screws are used for fixing assemblies in place. And you'll appreciate that the watch does include instantaneous jumping minutes and a lovely set of recentering hammers that reset everything at the push of the reset trigger. Of course, there are mirrored bevels on the edge of the steel chronograph lever, yoke, and recentering hammers, as well as the edges of the German silver bridges, and an engine-turned perlage across the base plate with a hand-engraved balance cock. You can see that freehand engraved half bridge. No two are exactly alike because that's done with a burin, eye, and hand, not mechanical tools, not with a lathe. You can see there's a handsome satin finish on all the steel components to contrast with the glasuta stripes over the tops of the bridges. In other words, it's the bee's knees. I wish I knew how to say that in German. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com to own this all-time great. We're back with the Datograph, loomed by night. Oh yeah, I'll add it's 30 meters water resistant, because I know you're wondering.